who are these people? Who are they? Well, Barack Obama made this a tool, and a tool for his unconstitutional method of getting people, quote, I'll say quasi-legalized. But when that happened, specifics went out the window. When you read through these documents, and I've finally gotten my hands on the documents, Mr. Speaker, each one of the applications is a 7-page application. And so those 7 pages altogether, there are about 2 million applications. Roughly half of them are renewals. That means there are 14 million pieces of paper, a lot of them filled out by hand. In fact, most of them filled out by hand. They only went electronic in 2015, I believe November 1st of 2015. And so it's hard to pull the data out. That's why we had to work so hard to get it. But some other things that came along that we're learning from reading through the press is that that we're finding more and more DACA recipients that are MS-13. Now, we shouldn't be surprised at that. A lot of them came in as unaccompanied alien minors, and then they get recruited into gangs, or they came in as a member of the gang. They weren't all 3-year-old girls that were brought across the Rio Grande River by their mother. A whole lot of them were unaccompanied alien minors, and some of them that were accompanied went right into the highest gang areas in the country, MS-13 gang areas. There's a large percentage of them that are also prime gang age recruitment. Out of 817,000 DACA recipients, that universe that are currently under DACA, there's about 135,000 that were prime gang age recruitment from that 13, 14, 15-year-old age. There was also, to remind folks, Mr. Speaker, there were we had the Drug Enforcement Administration Chief Administrator there, Robert Patterson, before the Judiciary Committee a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him a series of questions. Here's one of the things that he concurred on, that 80 to 90% of the illegal drugs consumed in America come from or through Mexico. 80 to 90% of those illegal drugs. We've had 64,000 Americans die because of drug overdose, primarily opioid abuse, and at least 2/3 of that is illegal opioid. We say the physicians are getting this under control, tightening down their prescriptions. They addressed this some time ago, but the illegal drugs are killing Americans, and those illegal drugs are coming from or through Mexico. Doug, this all on too, and actually they're a little better represented than I expected they would be, but that's only my judgment, not the data. So on education, they're supposed to be getting an education. Here's what I found out from looking at the education. So no data available. We're out of this universe of 817,798, Mr. Speaker. Out of that universe, there were 564,103 who there was no data available at all in their application on education. Were they going to school, weren't they? Did they have an education of any kind? Where did it take them to? Was it 6th grade, 3rd grade, 11th grade? No data available. That's 68.9% of the DACA recipients. We don't have even a record that they ever went to school. Now, I have to believe a good number of them went to school, not long enough apparently to write that down on this form. And most of them had help filling out the applications. Those were records not available. And then they have this mushy question in there. It's designed, this whole thing is designed to grant amnesty. And so the questions are asked in such a way when you read through there, it was never designed to understand and get an honest reporting that came out. But regardless, there's those who have no diploma and may or may not be in school. That's another 179,719, or 21.9%. They say, well, they don't have a degree, they don't have a diploma, they may or may not be in school. By the way, the question that's their head is power